Here's the chapter on Florida, and it starts, a hot nest. You are such a great symbol of all the diversity and contradictory nature of America. You are the beautiful beach and the pungent meth lab. You are the skinny model in South Beach and the fat warehouse worker in Jacksonville. You're the Jews and the Cubans down south and the white and black rednecks up north. And in between, you've got millions of people who have a look in their eyes like they just served 2 tours of duty because there are a lot of normal people in Florida and they don't like to leave their houses. Florida was Seminole Indians and a Spanish colony. But then Georgia and South Carolina settlers started moving in because Spain didn't have enough troops to control the North, and the people known as Florida crackers were the first to introduce the term until the word redneck replaced it in 1900. And so Spain gave Florida up, and Andrew Jackson came in and conquered the Seminoles. And the United States had another coastal state. John Quincy Adams described Florida along the lines of a derelict that served no other purpose than as a post to the United States, which I think is a description even Floridians would agree with. When people say Florida, they always think of South Florida first, of course, Miami primarily. That Jewish, Cuban, Haitian tourism board that has to deal with every generation's hedonist hustlers from Brazil to Russia and all of the United States. Miami is all the people who want to live in America dream first. By which I mean most people work hard for 30 years and save enough money to finally get enough to buy a little place in the sun for retirement. Now, Miami is all the party animals from all over the country and the world who say, I'm not going to work for 30 years. I'll skip that step and go right to the place in the sun. I'll get a job down there DJing or selling drugs or ideally both. And the whole skyline was built by cocaine money. It's amazing what kind of enterprise money laundering can be responsible for. We all ask about the bad fight of drug dealers, but when you're on the balcony on the 45th floor overlooking Biscayne Bay, maybe you should say a quick prayer to the Medellin cartel. Then you have Daytona, which is the Gold Coast for the outlaw bikers and the women who love them. I lived there once in '79 and worked in a t-shirt store. So Daytona was quite a fun time going to the beach and so on, but the place I lived in was sketchy, to put mildly. Half the businesses were drug and prostitution rings, and the other half were criminals on the run. One night, a biker knocked on my door in just his tighty-whities and threatened to carve my face up if I didn't pay him for some under-the-counter medications I had purchased, and I had to explain to him the payroll schedule of small businesses like Wild and Crazy T-shirts. That was a little dicey. And then there was the soda machine incident where a runaway hooker and I got into an extended conversation about Van Halen because Dance the Night Away was the song of the summer and I thought we'd hit it off. So later I knocked on her door to take the romance to a next level and she told me to get the weight away from her. She was doing business. I returned to Daytona years later in triumph during my MTV days and never saw the old crowd, although I hope a couple of them looked out their windows and gave the begrudging slow clap like, good for you, one of us made it. Then there's the west coast of Florida, Tampa, St. Pete, etc. Even the west coast people are nuts. You'd think that the Gulf Coast would be the peaceful coast, but nope, they are as sick as the other one. It's not that they are criminal, it's just that they are not respectable for the most part. That's why it's better to just go there for vacations, because something will happen by the end of the week that will just make you go, start the car. Orlando is Orlando. It's Disney for about 30 blocks, and then it's Compton in 1985 for the next 10 miles. There are a few other parts of Florida worth mentioning. Coral Castle and Homestead. You've probably never heard of it. This guy, Ed Letzolman, who was just over 5 foot tall and 100 pounds, built the entire stone castle and garden with 1,000 pounds of rock. No one ever witnessed him moving these 60,000-pound stones with no help and no equipment, and this was back in the 1920s through 40s. Ed would only say he knew the secrets of the pyramid, and you could too. But nobody has ever figured it out. I wish I could. I wouldn't use it to build a stone castle. I would use it to challenge any champion MMA fighter to a fight and then fling them around the ring with my pinky finger. Tell me that's not what every man's dream is. Then you walk over to a football field and you challenge the whole team against just you. You run them down and score at will. Cocoa Beach, Cape Canaveral are both very respectable, and then there's all these cool places like Cassadaga where they are all psychic. I always planned on going there but never made it. I feel like maybe that town is responsible for Florida's madness. They probably all got bored from having no variety, so they decided to put a curse on the whole state. One night they decided, we are going to put a hex on the whole place and make everybody just a little bit off. Not noticeable in a big way, but just small enough where it's a butterfly effect. And in 20 years, it'll be a car wreck. And that's what went down. You are famous for having the most golf courses, which is a sign of aging population, to put it mildly. You are already had the people dressed for it, so the easy part was mowing the grass. You are also famous for taking some of the heat off New Jersey because all state jokes used to be about New Jersey, and now half the jokes are about Florida. You are famous for Scarface, which is ultimate Florida movie. You move in, you get rich, and you dress and act like an a-hole until you die. But I still love Florida. You stand alone because you are unique and because we don't want to stand too close to you because we might get arrested too. Florida does the job as vacation party state. You're the wild kid on the block that we're all not allowed to hang out with. But sometimes we just want to break the rules.